Today, I'm going to talk to you about violence in public housing. I've lived in 3 different public housing complexes, and every one of them has been very violent. But this last one I've been living in, which is a remodeled old hotel, 15 stories, has been the least violent. But in recent years, the residency has changed. Since it's in right downtown Phoenix, it's been a magnet for younger patients. And most of these patients have...
What?
Well,
Younger
it used to be just for the seniors and the disabled, and there was only like 10%.
You're like 65 and somebody that
Yeah.
actually could prove that they were physically disabled.
Right.
But since the government changed their policy, guess what?
Well, now it's like 40%, and many of these are mental patients, which
65%.
Of the disabled. And we also have, of course, a lot of wheelchairers and scooter-bound people of the disabled and of the aging. So we have quite a mix here. And today I've been right in the middle of an incident involving my neighbor who has kind of gone off the track somewhat. And I'm right in the middle of cataract surgery. I only have one done, so this was not a very good time for me to be in another crisis.
Shouldn't you have a black thing over
Yes.
your eye or something like that?
No, I have to have another one
Seriously.
done, and this is going to be how you'll be seeing me in the future without glasses. I
Put
don't
the
know
glasses
whether...
back on, yeah.
Yeah, he's not used to me without glasses. I don't know whether it's improvement, but anyway...
Put the glasses
And today
back
when I
on.
went to my doctor's appointment, both elevators I live on the 9th floor, so both elevators were down, which doesn't happen very often, thankfully. And so I had to also walk 6 flights of stairs. I was to his house, so it was a little bit less to get to my doctor. So I galloped up there, and I got there just barely in time.
You gallop?
Well, I didn't gallop.
Come on,
Of course I didn't gallop. Are you crazy? But so to
horses
speak,
gallop.
for an older person, I was galloping.
I don't know what that is.
But I also have a neighbor who, during the course of my recovery from cataract surgery, pounded on my door, yelled something at me, and I thought, good Lord, what's happened to him? I didn't open the door, you know. And then I went outside, and there was a note on my door complaining, saying that I was taking altogether too much interest
Why
in
don't
his
you read the note?
comings and goings. And I was just an old busybody, and he needed this bitch out of my life. Well, I really didn't like this note, especially since I hadn't been paying any attention to his comings and goings, and I'm going a little deaf, so I don't even hear what's going on about me if it's very far away. And I thought, oh my goodness. Well, it turned out he had told me a couple of days before that the other neighbor, a lady too, was just making the most horrible noises in her apartment, and she was just causing him all kinds of sleeplessness. And well, it turned out that he had also called the police on her, and the police came. They couldn't get her to open the door, so they opened it. She wasn't even there, let alone making all these noises that he said. So then we kind of have to conclude that
Who's we?
everybody around, including the management, to whom I reported this behavior, that maybe this guy was hearing things. And he's a young guy too. He's been a gentleman to me up till now. Well, 40.
That's not young.
Well, that's a lot younger than I am. He's at least
hell, you're an old
30. Yeah, I'm
grown,
38
okay?
years older than me. And he's also saying I'm taking way too much interest in his, and I thought, oh my goodness sake. So I reported him. The neighbor, of course.
Look,
and then
let's face it.
Some other lady.
Let's face it. I'm 72 and I don't take interest in you, okay? I mean, let's face it.
Right, we are, you know. So anyway, another lady had served papers on him, a restraining order. So probably he's madder at her than he is at me and the other neighbor. So people were serving him with papers yesterday, and he was also calling the police on her as well as his other neighbor, and you know, he's just this has slowly happened to him. Slowly. He's been in here about 6 or 7 months. I've talked to him a number of times.
Slowly?
Yes, this has been going on. His getting more irrational, slowly.
That's how he got in here.
Well, yeah, but...
the guy's got a background.
Well, most of the time you don't know.
He's got a background that'll make you shiver.
Well, how do I know?
Because you don't find out.
Well, he said he was in here because of a bad back. Well,
right.
But... You know, I can understand why mental patients don't want to say, I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, so no. And you know, you really shouldn't ask. I try not to ask why they're in here. Especially if they're acting a little, you know, it's just a given that they're not going to want to talk about it.
That's how I got in.
I'm certified. I'm certified, and I know how they feel about people thinking that way about them if they find out they've been incarcerated in a mental hospital at any time in their life.
You see, that's what they used to do, but they don't do it anymore. Now we are in the mental hospital.
I'm a person who is probably going to be as comfortable with mental patients as anybody would be.
Well, since I believe you're casting aspersions on my character. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't appreciate that one bit.
Well, a lot of old codgers become mental, like him. He hasn't been incarcerated, but he should have been probably.
Yeah,
it would have done him some good.
I'm going to tell you something right now.
So anyway, there is a problem of when young people prone to outbreaks of violence are housed with old ladies. I remember one who really went on a rampage, and he'd go up to old ladies in wheelchairs and say, "Get out of that wheelchair, you old bitch, and walk." Well, they were trying to get him out, and you know, it does take time.
Jesus Christ or something?
It does take time to get anybody out, evict them. It takes time. I mean, you just can't go and throw them out, no matter what happens. Unless, you know, they do something so violent that the police take him to jail, and that hasn't happened in this case. It doesn't usually happen.
Yeah,
so the wheels turn and things have to, you know, and sometimes people fight it and they have to appeal. They appeal the decision for eviction, and, you know. So, yes, there is violence in public housing. And that's part of what you can expect when you're housed with all kinds of people who are disabled. And I think that my daughter, when she heard this, she said, "Well, Mom, I think you could find a public housing complex that doesn't have so many mental patients." Well, I probably could.
Where?
But I don't want to move.
Name one.
I'm used to this. I like the downtown location. I love this complex in many ways.
I'll be out here tomorrow. Name some.
Oh, yes, and he wouldn't go. And you know, he told me, he said, "You never should have talked to that young man ever." And I said, "Hey, I'm not going to let an old guy that sits in his room, hold up and drinks, tell me I shouldn't talk to any young mental patients."